Hi there, Gada Vanderpool from MamaGoesBam.com. I mentioned on the blog that it's been about 6 months now that I've been writing, and I've been here in New York from New Zealand. And there's just been a few things lately that have been happening in my life that made me decide to do this video. It's kind of a lost in translation video. I consider myself a Kiwi Canadian. I was born in Canada, and then I lived in New Zealand for 8 years, and that's where I also became a New Zealander, which is known as a Kiwi. So I'm a Kiwi Canadian. Now I'm in the States, and people say I have an accent, and I find that really funny because I'm originally from Canada, and when I was in New Zealand, people said I had an accent there from a Canadian accent. So I'm a bit mixed up, really. And I imagined coming here to New York, even though it was via New Zealand, wouldn't be too different. And it's not, because, you know, it is still a North American, I'm still in North America. But there's a few words that I've said, or a few things that I've done that make people take pause. So I've written a few of those down. So for instance, I get some strange looks when I say, I'll turn to my son who's 4 years old and I'll ask him if he needs to go to the toilet. Sounds a bit rough, sounds a bit, yeah, not really the right word to say, but that's what we say in New Zealand. We say, you're going to the toilet, because generally the toilet is in a separate room from where you wash your hands or where you have a bath, which is the bathroom. I remember when I first arrived in New Zealand, it seemed strange to me as well. To have to ask for the toilet, but if you ask for the bathroom, that would make people assume that you needed to have a shower. So when I'm out in public and I say to my son, do you need to go to the toilet, I sometimes get strange looks. Or if I ask where the toilet is, it sounds like I'm asking for the physical bowl, which in essence I kind of am, but that's just, you know, 8 years of being in New Zealand ingrained in me, so I have to remember to ask for the bathroom or the restroom. Also, talking about diapers, I sometimes slip in and say nappy, or if I'm talking about a stroller, I'll sometimes call that a pram. I remember we were trying to get our stroller up to my parents in Canada on the train, and we took the subway first, and we didn't know how to get our stroller into the actual subway through the gate, and my husband was talking about the pram, and the man was just kind of looking at him a little bit sort of like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So that's another word that I need to erase from my lexicon, which is pram, while I'm in North America, because it just does not go over here. People don't understand. Mom versus mum is a really big one. I think that's where people will often say that I have a British accent, because I still sometimes say mum, as in I'm Preston's mum, M-U-M. Rather than mom. So I find it easy to remember to write mom, but when I'm actually talking about myself, I do tend to still say mum, and I guess I could see how that's perceived as a bit English. Other words that I use, and this is mainly with Preston, because he's 4 and because he learned a lot of these words as his first words. I find it, even though I'm trying to use words that I know people understand, I find it, I use them with him because I know the words he knows. So for instance, when we go out for a walk, we walk on the footpath, not the sidewalk. And on Wednesday nights we have to put the rubbish out, not the garbage. So yeah, I guess it'd be interesting to know what you think. Do you think I have an accent? Do you think it's Canadian? Do you think it's English? Do you think it's, what is it? I don't know. I think it's a bit of a mishmash of knowing my husband for 10 years, who's a Kiwi, who has an accent, and then also being Canadian, and we have our way of saying things, like out and about. And then you bring that back into, yeah, just all of my different life experiences. It makes it hard for people to pin down where exactly I'm from. The other things that I'm getting used to are the weather. I am always confused when people tell me what the weather's going to do. Like earlier this week, I think we got up to, was it 65 yesterday, 69? Yeah, sure, I knew it was going to be a big deal, but right off the cuff, I don't actually know how warm that is, how cold that is. I just sort of nod and shake my head when someone tells me what the weather is. I really, really like the weather with the icons. That tells me a lot. The sun and the wind and the rain. But yeah, 65 Fahrenheit doesn't mean a whole lot to me, really, because I'm really used to Celsius. And I've had to look it up now, and gosh, you can't just figure it out like that. I need a calculator, so it's good if I've got my iPhone, I can figure out what it is in Celsius. It's basically, you take Fahrenheit, so 65, subtract 32, then I've actually forgotten what it is, then multiply by 5, and then divide by 9. So that gives you Celsius. So can you imagine my confusion in trying to figure out the weather from day to day? 6 months I've been here, and I don't really have a clue. The other one that I'm struggling with is miles and kilometers. I'm used to kilometers, and now here everything's in miles. So again, when someone's trying to tell me a really cool story about how fast they were going in miles, I just, nod, shake my head. And then I need a calculator to figure it out. So, yeah, even though I thought, English-speaking country, from Canada to New Zealand to the States, they've all had their slight differences in lexicon, in culture, and the food that we eat, and the way that we talk and pronounce things. So it's interesting. So if you want to read more about some of the adventures that I'm having here in New York after being born and raised in what people call French Canada, Quebec, Montreal, then moving to New Zealand and falling in love with a Kiwi, a New Zealander, and now back here in New York, just head on over to the blog, mamagoesbam.com. I'd be really keen to hear